are staying this evening in Shaker Village, Pleasant Hill, Kentucky. My husband and I have been here several years ago, and it's just such a wonderful, peaceful retreat, I guess, is one way to describe it. But the furnishings, the grounds, and the fact that you can actually stay inside these historic buildings. I think there are 72 rooms. There are several buildings here on the grounds, and there are hotel rooms rented out. Maybe 72 rooms, if I remember correctly. And all decorated and furnished in the early Shaker style for the most part in the furnishings. Just such a lovely location. So tonight our room is in the trustees building, which is the room that has the big spiral double staircase, which you'll see more of later in this video. And right outside, they do music in the evening that takes place, I think they call it Music on the Lawn. And that happens on Friday and Saturday evenings. So we are going to be having dinner this evening in the trustees hall downstairs, farm to table dining, and then go on what they call the spirit stroll, the early days. This community here, my understanding was it was established in 1805, and I'll double check that and post if I am not correct on that date. But I love how all of the rooms have these fabulous Shaker peg rails, and the decorating throughout and the colors are so date appropriate. So I hope you will continue to follow along on this tour of Pleasant Hill, Kentucky, Shaker Village. So here are the various rooms in the restaurant for the trustees table. And they're getting it all prepped and ready for dinner this evening. In the morning on the weekends, this area right here is where the buffet is, and you can see at the end the little table with the lemons on it going up that curved staircase. Everything's getting ready for this evening. Traveling the gravel road that the Shakers would have when they brought one of their brothers or sisters to their final resting place. Spirit stroll at Shaker Village, Kentucky. I love the details of this picket fence. If you notice, the top rail goes sideways, but the bottom rail is flat. I don't know what the significance of that is. And then the posts are rounded over. Just an added detail. This house, this building, the East family dwelling, built in 1817, and 2 sets of front doors because the men were meant to enter in one and the women enter in the other. And there are rooms upstairs available for the hotel. So when you check in at the main welcome center, you're given your key, and like here is room 501 right on the main floor. Here, room 502, and you can stay right here in the building. And all of the buildings feature these wonderful shaker peg rails and all of these shaker hanging light fixtures and the reproduction shaker furniture. Just beautiful. For many years, this gravel area here was an actual road. Cars travel down it from Nashville to Ohio, and you'll notice fences both on the right side of the road and the left. On the right hand side, these were considered more of the public space buildings. The trustee's house where the restaurant was, and inn for travelers, business people traveling to do business with the Shakers. This area on the right were public spaces, and then there's the other fence here on the left, and that fence was for the private spaces. So here, the center family dwelling, founded in 1824. The building was built from local limestone from the actual grounds, and way up at the top you'll see a little, let's see if I can show you there, that little cupola kind of on top of the building. That was used for ventilation. So heat was able to vent out of it or close it in order to keep it warmer during winter months. The grounds here are just stunning, and they have sort of a 5-year work plan that they go from one end to the other, redoing, rebuilding, repainting, regular type of maintenance. And by the time that 5-year span is over, it is time to begin again on the other end. When we were here in 2018, that building, the center family dwelling, was completely covered in scaffolding for the work to be done on that building. But you'll notice as we walk, this area that is now just for walking, now I've turned around, so here the left side is the public spaces, and behind the fence on the right side was the private shaker living spaces. The meeting house, which I guess what we would refer to as their church, where their services would have been, was on the public side because their services were open to the community to come, and it was one of the ways that they hoped to bring more people into the Shaker community. So all of these buildings here are, nearly all of them, are available as overnight accommodations. Back there, I believe, was called the East Family Wash House, that yellow mustard color building. And when Jim and I were here in 2018, we stayed on the second floor there. Some of these buildings just have enough room for like a whole family to stay in, or a large family event. And then some, like the East Family Dwelling, there are 20 separate hotel accommodations there. All of them have their own separate private bathroom. Some, like our room yesterday at the trustee's house, actually had a sitting room in front of the our hotel room. And here in the East Family Dwelling, downstairs there's a whole communal, because that's what this community was all about, a whole communal living area where you can use the refrigerator and the microwave, the sitting area, and it was all air conditioned, which was wonderful, since it's about 90 degrees out here today in the middle of September in Kentucky. So this is downstairs in the East Family Dwelling. So if you stay here overnight, or if you're just coming to visit, they have this lovely sitting area. This is an air-conditioned building. It's quite hot outside. I'd say it's probably 90. There's games, little information, historical information about how the area was used. This early bake oven, wood or charcoal, was burned to heat the stone slabs that were used mainly to bake bread and pies. Can you imagine the pies that may have come out of there? And then here, corner cabinet. What a fabulous use of space. You know, our houses today, some of the newer ones, may have some of these little hidden areas that they just drywall right over. Corner cabinet may appear out of place, but the Shakers' commitment to order inspired them to efficiently use all available space. Here, sisters in the East family could have stored smaller items that would have been essential for work in the kitchen. And here, a little bench. Just the simplicity. Just lovely. And that amazing, really walk-in size fireplace. And here, this area is for employees and the overnight guests. But here's an arch kettle fired by wood from the furnace beneath. The Shakers used this early appliance to prepare soups and preserves. Once the bowl had been filled with water and heated, the sisters would have cooked with pots placed over the boiling water. Wow, they were feeding a lot of people. And we learned last night that children would stay with their mothers if they came with their mothers, or if the mothers were pregnant when they arrived. They would stay with their mothers until the age of 3. After the age of 3, the children would live separate from their own parents in sort of a communal school sort of living arrangement. Just really a very unique way of life. Everyone here, they were all educated. They were all required to learn how to read. Of the decorative attention on the post, and even the pegs here on the post. Their walls here laid by the stone workers so many years ago are just stunning. If I remember correctly, somewhere along the line I remember them saying that they were laid by Scottish workers so many years ago. They're so random and so straight. And look at here how they're going so straight across. And then right here, they're going up and down. Do you see this, Jim? Like here they're all going straight across. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden here they're going up and down.
Is that for walking over?
Yeah, it must have. How clever is that? Maybe for or maybe for water,
drainage.
Yeah. So let the chickens through, but not the. Sure is. We're in the Shaker garden area, and being a northerner, I have never seen okra actually growing. I'm sure this has been harvested on several times, but we are definitely going to grow our own okra next year because I love using it in the garlands. And so often when I find it at the farm stands, they harvest it at the right time to eat, which is a lot smaller than when you want to harvest it to use it for the garlands. Once they get really big, like I would say these are too big for eating, this is the perfect time to be harvesting it for the garlands.
Look at this.
Here's the herb garden. Phenomenal lavender, and I have heard that that is really good in the colder climates, that it overwinters really well. Lemon thyme, golden sage, that is a perennial. Wonder if the rosemary is a perennial here. I don't believe it is in our zone 6 in Ohio. Those are a form of basil. That plant with the seeds, that is a weed. Looks like maybe more basil there in between, and some rhubarb. More rhubarb. And I don't know what that is. And no sign. That is beautiful. At this point, we're mid-September in Kentucky. So the gardens are tired. I can imagine this is gorgeous in the midsummer. And all the black barns, which was truly the inspiration for the black barn that we have at the Cape on the Corner. We had been here in March of 2018 and stayed on the grounds and just fell in love with that look. So that's where the inspiration came from all those years ago. Look at that. That's little garlic heads. tobacco sticks with the tobacco drying. In the evening from 6:30 till about 8:30 or 9:30, there's music on the lawn right beside the trustees building, and there's a little bar outside in the back as well for drinks.